Hello and welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. We are here for a special build-up stream of NXT Stand and Deliver. So we'll be back with you right after this.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
Okay, so once again, hello and welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. My name is Scott, going to be here with you for this special build-up show stream for NXT Stand and Deliver. We're going to preview the card, and then straight after this, we'll be having a watch-along stream as well. So make sure you stick around for that. So whether you're watching us live or on demand, thank you very much for joining us, and we really do appreciate it. I know that we do get people watching on demand that kind of go into get to see some of the discussions that come up on these streams as well. Now, as you can see, though, I am solo at the moment, and that might be the case throughout the NXT stuff, but we'll be back tonight with a team of people to bring you WrestleMania coverage as well. So we're watching the pre-show at the moment, of course, for Stand and Deliver. Let this be your companion for the pre-show as well, and of course, they're running through the card. Interestingly, of course, letting us know that Pretty Deadly are going to be the host for the show as well. I'm looking forward to seeing what they get up to on this event. Very, very entertaining team, of course. Speaking of entertaining, we've had a lot going on with the channel the past few days, and I assume you would have seen some of it so far. But basically, we've been kind of getting ourselves in the mood for WrestleMania, like everyone has really, and we've been talking about how to fix WrestleMania week. Also, we've been talking about how to fix the Hall of Fame. But I got a few kind of comments about the Hall of Fame, actually, since it was on last night. We'll probably touch on a little bit of that as well. Later on, we'll have the build-up show to WrestleMania. And then on both nights, we're also going to have an instant reaction podcast for you as well. And then topping all that off with a recap or review. We're also covering Raw after WrestleMania as well. So stick with us on the channel for that. And we've, of course, done our predictions for the big show tonight and tomorrow's event with the red carpet preview and the predictions and preview podcasts as well. So at the moment, of course, just running through the card. Really interesting to see what Johnny Gargano does on this show. It's been a while, of course, since he's been in an NXT ring. And it's a very different NXT, I should say, to the one that he left a little while back. So looking forward to seeing him on this new stage. And it's quite a new stage for me, I'll be honest. I don't really watch NXT, so I'm not that familiar with a lot of these guys, which is wild. I never really thought I'd get to the stage of saying that, but NXT is just not the same show it used to be. And I'm hoping this is something to kind of pull me back into it, really. So, yeah, whether you're watching live or on demand, let us know what you think of the current product and what you think of this show as well, what you're most excited for. All right, so at the moment we're seeing a lot of Shawn Michaels featured on the program, and of course this storyline with Johnny is, got Michaels all over it, and it's just showing these old clips of NXT. Is again just such a reminder that sadly that NXT is not here anymore. So yeah, we got the pre-show going on as well. If you're new here, guys, thank you so much for joining us. What we do in the build-up is to kind of get yourself and ourselves hyped up for this event. I appreciate it's early around the world for many people joining as well. I think it's in the States, this show starting at like midday. For us, it's a little bit better over here. It's 6 minutes past 5 at the moment here in the UK, and it will be 6 o'clock when the show gets underway, which is a nice thing to say about a wrestling show that's coming from the States. But at the same time, I feel just as rough as I would if it was on late because of last night's late night, of course, watching the Hall of Fame, which again was a fantastic ceremony, of course, with Rey Mysterio. Amazing induction. As much as I do have frustrations with the presentation of the Hall of Fame these days, I can't knock certain parts of it, like that. Again, that induction from Conan, Rey Mysterio, fantastic there as well. So again, just to remind you, we're watching the pre-show along here as well. We're doing a watch-along stream for the actual event itself in just a little bit. But what this is the build-up show, again, to get us both excited, myself and yourselves hyped up for the event. So if you're watching live or on demand, let us know. What do you think of the current NXT product? And especially if you're watching live, let me know what match you're most looking forward to tonight as well. I say tonight. Is it night? I don't know. I'm so confused with the time zones and all that kind of stuff. I've just mentioned what time it is. Of course, it's just gone 5 here in the UK. I guess that's on the way to the night. But again, I'm very sleepy after last night's Hall of Fame. But yeah, what are you looking forward to, guys, on this show tonight? I'm going to use that word again. This evening, I guess. Late afternoon, whatever. Nice little build there, promo package for Gargano and his return to NXT. I'll be interested to see what this venue looks like, because I'm not entirely sure where this is. Because, of course, NXT, again, it's not what it was. Again, I'll plug it once more. If you get some time after this stream, please go check out mine and Rob's video where we're talking about how to fix the Hall of Fame. And something we mentioned in that is how we think that should kind of change venues and change presentation. But when we're doing how to fix the WWE WrestleMania week, we also talked about how to fix NXT, whether or not they should keep the Stand and Deliver name, whether or not they should do it on a different day. Because, of course, the WrestleMania week schedule, as fun as it is for wrestling fans, it's quite congested, and I think some of it needs to move, and I think NXT could benefit from being on a different day. But Rob did have a great point of potentially moving it to Access, so I don't want to ruin that video too much. Please go and check it out if you do get some time. But like I said, the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel have gone Hollywood this week as well. We've been going in depth with our WrestleMania previews, but of course right now you are here live watching the build-up show to NXT Stand and Deliver. Right, let's go through some of these matches then. Like I said, first of all, we've been talking about Johnny Gargano there, of course. So we'll start with that match, seeing as that's what they're talking about on screen as well. Johnny Gargano versus Grayson Waller. Unsanctioned match. Now, we've seen stuff like this before with Gargano, of course. Unsanctioned, I think, with fellow DIY teammate / enemy, Tommaso Ciampa. So it'd be interesting to see what that looks like in this new version of NXT. I'm not that familiar with Grayson Waller's work, I've got to be honest. And again, that's the same for a lot of the people on this card. I just don't watch NXT anymore, and I'm hoping this is a way to get me back into it. For those that are watching along with the stream, are you the same as me? Are you dipping your toes back in on WrestleMania week in hopes that this will kind of hook you? Or are you a kind of long-term NXT fan? Are you watching all the time? And if so, what do you think about the current product? Is it gripping you? Is that why you're still watching it? Another match we'll be looking at as well, of course, is the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship match. We got Fallon Henley, Kiana James versus Alba, Fyre, and Isla Dawn there as well. Of course, the former Kaylee Ray mentioned there. We did actually interview Kaylee Ray on this channel. So if you get a chance, please check that out. Great little interview with the former Kaylee Ray when she was WWE UK Women's Champion. Of course, a fantastic reign there as well, and now moved up or across, however you look at it. I guess up because NXT UK doesn't even exist anymore, to, I guess, the main NXT, which again brings me on to another point of NXT Europe. What's that looking like, guys? We haven't heard anything about that for a while, and when we do, will it look like the US version of NXT? So it'd be interesting to see how they brand NXT Europe as well. Another match, of course, we're going to see tonight. Now, this one, I think a lot of people are excited for. It's the 5-way North American Championship match. And again, I haven't been watching NXT lately, guys, but you tell me a multi-man NXT North American Championship match, and I'm in because we saw some fantastic ones in the early days of that championship. I looked at the WWE website yesterday, and I was looking at the pictures of that title and who's kind of held it, and it just shows you. I don't want to be harsh, but the change. Let's not say the drop off, even though I already said it. In what NXT is by who used to hold those titles. That's not a slight at all on Wesley. But what I'm saying is, we had Adam Cole and people like that. And of course, they felt like they should have been on the main roster, as people called it at the time. I guess still call it. But it was more about going sideways than above. But now it is definitely a developmental territory once more. A bit more like FCW than the Super Indi it ended up becoming. With the black and gold, but that match again is going to be really exciting. I'm probably most excited for this match, of course, as well. The most recent addition to this match would have been on the last, I guess, NXT TV was Axiom getting into the 5-way match. Of course, we've got the champion Wesley, JD McDonough, Ilya Dragunov, who always performs well, and Dragon Lee, who I'm very, very excited to see on this stage as well. Of course, a lot of fanfare when Dragon Lee signs with NXT. So that's the closest I've felt to NXT being anything like it used to be. Just this kind of hype that someone had signed from outside of WWE, because lately it has been this kind of repackaging of sports stars rather than bringing on outside wrestlers. So going to be interesting to see him on this stage as well. So again, I think I am most looking forward to this match. But guys, let me know in the comments, what are you most looking forward to here at NXT Stand and Deliver? You are joining me on a build-up show. Usually we've got some guests here, guys, but schedules are a bit wild on WrestleMania weekend. So tonight, when we do our build-up show for WrestleMania, we'll have guests and stuff like that. These are some of my most fun streams to do. They're so all over the place and exciting in a good way, don't get me wrong. So this one, a bit strange to do it on my own, but hey, I guess it's necessity, and I thought it'd be good to cover NXT on this weekend. It'd be fair to give them a bit of a shout, because again, I haven't really paid attention to them for a while, and if you're gonna, WrestleMania weekend seems a good time to start. Now, some more names I'm a little bit more familiar with there. Of course, the tag team champions here, Mark Coffey and Wolfgang as Gallus. They're going to be facing off against the Creed brothers, the family as well, in a triple threat tag team match. Looking forward to seeing this, just because I'm a big fan of NXT multi-person matches, and there's been some fantastic tag ones over the years, and it's tough because again, I keep trying to compare to names that we used to have in the promotion before, but hey, it is what it is. I'm looking forward to these lot winning me over. I really do hope. They'll know, eyes are on them. This feels more like when NXT first started, and it was kind of giving people the opportunity WrestleMania weekend to get a few eyes on them. Jojo, what's up? Hey, I am doing good, Jojo. Thank you very much for joining here, mate. Appreciate it. What are you looking forward to on this show, Jojo? Who excites you most on the NXT roster, and what match are you looking forward to seeing that's been announced so far? I don't think we're going to get any more added on. These shows are usually quite small these days, aren't they? These NXT shows. I was going to say takeover. They're not even called takeovers anymore, are they? But yeah, looking forward to the tag match. Like I said, I do think it's going to be good opportunity for a lot of these guys, not just in this match, of course, but a lot of these guys to kind of again show the world what NXT 2.0, is that still a thing? Is all about. Let's move on to the next match as well. We're talking multi-person matches. My goodness, there's so much going on. There's so many people on these cards. We've got the 8-person mixed tag team match here between Chase University and Tyler Bate, versus Schism. Now, I've got to say, not that familiar with quite a few people in this match or the storyline whatsoever. Of course, I recognize some of the faces there, NXT UK and Tyler Bate. I know we've got the Rock's daughter over here. We've got our kind of Scousers from NXT UK as well. Looking forward to seeing them. But yeah, let me know what you're looking forward to, guys. Of course, Joe Gacy kicked up a lot of fuss recently when they thought he was going to be joining Bray Wyatt on the main roster. I would say the ladder match, says Jojo. and a Fatal 5-Way, to be honest, plus the world title match. I miss old NXT days, though. Black and gold. Look, Jojo, I agree. I don't know how long you've been on the stream for, mate, but I was saying the same thing. I don't want this all to be about how good NXT used to be and all that, but let's be honest, NXT is not what it used to be. Again, I'm trying to dip my toes back in, Jojo. I don't watch this that often, NXT. I'm not that familiar with a lot of these people. And I want them to draw me in. I want to come out of this saying to people that I know, listen, most people I know don't watch NXT anymore. And I want to be able to say to them, did you watch NXT? Like it was when NXT was first picking up and going to, like, and it became really exciting and cool. And someone didn't watch NXT. It was like they weren't watching the actual show of the weekend. Like I remember when NXT was so much more exciting than the main roster. You'd go into Survivor Series or, you know, maybe Royal Rumble or WrestleMania and think, man, I think that takeover was as good or maybe better, you know. And it was kind of like, how are certain people not watching this? And now it's massively lost its audience, and I'm hoping they get that buzz again, where it's exciting to say, look, there's something bubbling here for NXT. Jojo says, I don't watch much NXT nowadays, just the pay-per-views, to be honest. The Mania weekend, so I'm hyped. Same here, man. Last night's Supercard of Honor was great. Look, I did watch some stuff from Supercard of Honor as well. I was trying to keep up with that. SmackDown, and then, of course, the Hall of Fame came straight after as well. Really enjoyed pretty much everything I saw from all three of those shows. I thought, look, there are problems, don't get me wrong. And as I mentioned earlier on in the stream, we've got a whole kind of podcast dedicated to it on this channel of how to fix WWE WrestleMania week, because it is a bit too crammed at the moment and things are getting lost in the shuffle, and also how to fix the Hall of Fame, because mostly for me, the presentation is what's lacking at the moment and its kind of sense of importance. But saying that, I did enjoy it. The Rey Mysterio speech, Conan's introduction was fantastic. Stacey Keebler, great speech. You know, all the speeches were good. Even Mooters, of course, didn't speak for very long. Short but sweet. And he did his mist, and it was great to see Asuka act like a little child, so excited at seeing that. It's so good when you see wrestlers act like fans, in my opinion. I know some people don't like that, especially old timers, but in moments like that, it's nice to see someone appreciate who they got into the business idolizing. You know what I mean? So very cool to see. Jojo, again, thank you for the comment, mate. I also am excited to see Johnny Gargano in the show. Hopefully WWE uses him more on the main roster, not just losing. Look, Jojo, I think we're very alike here, buddy. Yeah, I was so excited when Gargano showed up. He was one of the hottest free agents. And then, well, that little bit there was basically me describing what he's done since. I hate to be harsh, but it's not been much, has it? So it's been a real disappointment. You know what's not been a disappointment? Again, we're watching a pre-show along with this, that Miz and Maurice song. Fantastic performance from them. And I'm glad we're seeing it tonight as well. Looking forward to seeing Miz and what he does as host. I think it would be quite cool. Now, going back to NXT, though, and Gargano. Would love to see Gargano being used more on the main roster. We did talk about this, actually, myself and Rob. We were talking about the Raw after Mania and the potential for Tommaso Ciampa to come back, and a potential for maybe a reuniting of DIY. I know some people are going to say, we've been there, we've done that. Come on, let's move on. But like at a time when the main roster needs tag teams, and a time where Johnny Gargano needs something to do, and a time where Ciampa needs to come back with a bang, I don't see any better way than that. And then, of course, eventually, let's have the turn again. And I'd love to see that happen one more time at WrestleMania, because that kind of final blowout, unfortunately, like many things, got lost in the shuffle of that strange time in early 2020. You know what I'm talking about there. But I would love to see more of it. I actually did have the opportunity to chat to Ciampa about it a little while ago, actually. So, again, once you're up with these streams, guys, feel free to go back and check out the interviews we've got on this channel. But I did talk to Ciampa about what was then the new version of NXT and his vision, not fitting the vision of 2.0. Of course, as we said earlier on, it's all about kind of turning these athletes and that into superstars. But Ciampa come from that kind of old school super indie, you know what I mean? So it's interesting, you know. We'll see. We'll see if he does come back and if he does reunite with Johnny Gargano. I think it would give Gargano something to do as well. LA Knight, needs to be on the show tonight, though, man. Yeah, so agree with that. I mean, on SmackDown, we were live tweeting it last night, guys. If you haven't already followed us or subscribed, please do. But if you do use the old Twit machine, then at RM Pro Wrestling is where we're out on there. We were live tweeting, and basically, it seemed wild how much the fans were into him, and for him to be eliminated and then not used tonight or tomorrow would be very, very strange. Indeed. So hopefully WWE know what they've got on their hands. I'm sure they do, and they use him at WrestleMania. Now on the screen we've got Roxanne Perez talking to herself, I think, and the title, or talking to the title there. Of course, she's back. It kind of seemed like it was going to be the case. Shawn Michaels is going through recycling his storylines at the moment, but there we go. I'm looking forward to seeing it, though. Also, looking forward to seeing my buddy Andy Spores. We're going to bring him in now. He is joining us live from LA. So we'll see how this signal is and how his audio is. But let's give this a go. Andy, how you doing?
Hello, mate. How's it going?
Very good, mate. Especially seeing you. What's that jacket you got on there?
This is a Chalkline WrestleMania jacket. I've got that drip like Seth Rollins going on right now.
Look at that. Look at that. How you doing, man? You looking good?
Good, mate. It's a warm day in LA. Probably the warmest one we've had so far since I've been out here. Of course, I've worn trousers. Should have gone with shorts because it is roasting already, and it's only 9:23 in the morning here.
Wow. So, yeah, it's gonna be a long, hot day, mate.
Mate, yeah. I'm here in the crypto.com, or as most people probably call it, the Staples Center.
That's what that is. All right, now I know what you're talking about.
yeah. So crypto.com is the new sponsorship. It's like, I don't know, like when football stadiums change their name.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that for Newcastle, but it'd be like Emirates changing to something else.
Emirates is bad enough, don't get me wrong. But anyway, I get where you're coming from. What's the vibe like there, mate, for NXT? People excited for it?
Yeah, I think so. There's not as many people kicking around as there was for SmackDown last night. It's definitely going to be, well, it won't be anywhere near as busy. SmackDown only had a very few seats that I could see from where I was that were empty. But I have been reading that if you go on StubHub right now, you can actually pick up like $5 tickets for suites here in NXT. So if anyone in America is watching it, you can get yourself down for very cheap for NXT. But to be honest, the card is pretty solid. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah. So I was just saying before we got you on, mate, that I'm not that familiar with NXT anymore, and I'm trying to use this as a way to dip my toes back in and get into it. Of course, I'm familiar with quite a few names on the roster, but there are still quite a few I've only kind of heard bits and pieces about. What are you most looking forward to as far as those newer talents that maybe I haven't kind of seen much of?
I mean, for me, the match I'm personally looking forward to is the Fatal 5-Way for the United States, the North American title. But that one is actually heavily loaded with a lot of European stuff. So you've got Axiom, who obviously, when he was on NXT UK, he wasn't wearing a mask. So it's interesting to see that they've actually given him a bit of a remake. I think that's probably because his character wasn't particularly like stand out when he was there, but he's a very good wrestler. You've got JD McDonough, you've got Ilya Dragunov, you've got Wesley, and then Dragon Lee, who no one in NXT has really seen before. Yeah. So Dragon Lee in particular is one to watch because this is his debut. They're expecting big things. I have heard that he's not planning to stick around NXT too long. He wants to be on the main roster, so he'll be out to make an impression in that match. That's going to be an absolute banger. I think that could be one of the matches of the weekend in terms of WrestleMania weekend.
Wow.
But I guess when you look elsewhere, the main event, like those two guys are going to be big in WWE. I would say Carmelo Hayes for sure is a champion, is a world champion one day. He's just got that it factor. Everything he does is cool. I think Bron Breakker's dropping the title tonight. I'll make that kind of straight off the bat.
Okay, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah, I think you can see him as early as Monday, to be honest, mate. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's it. A lot of people think either him or Carmelo. And I think as much as all the buzz around at the moment is about Carmelo, it's only because it seems kind of a foregone conclusion now that Bron Breakker's going up soon, So while I think everybody is hyped about Carmelo, someone's got to stay on NXT to kind of fly the flag.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And I think that Carmelo is the future for sure, but I think he also could really benefit from having a run with the title. So I think, unlike Bron, who's had it maybe like well, the best part of the year. I know he dropped it to Dolph for like a few weeks or whatever, but I think Bron now has got that experience of having a title on his shoulders, really running that brand, having like a brand on his shoulders. Whereas Carmelo has had the North American title and he's ran with that. He's made it, what it is. But I would also say that he could really benefit from the experience of being the face of the brand outright. These guys have been kept apart for a reason, and I think this could be the sort of passing of the mantle, as it were. But yeah, Carmelo, I think it's got to be the consistent point now, moving forward into the future. But equally, that opens up a good match against Grayson Waller, which should be a great match against Johnny Gargano as well. I think it's what's it called? Unsanctioned match, I think they're having.
Yeah, unsanctioned. So, whereabouts are you sitting in the arena, mate? They might end up fighting right next to you.
I'm not down on the floor, but you should be able to see me because I'm directly opposite the hard cam. So
oh yeah, okay.
You
Well,
might be able to see me.
Can't miss that jacket, mate. I'll be looking out for that jacket.
There's a few of them kicking around, but no one's looking quite as good as me in it. So,
of course, man. Of course. All right. So you're saying most looking forward to, I guess, the North American title. Is that right? And
yeah,
and maybe what the main event's gonna bring us as well. What are you thinking about the fact there's so many people on this card? There's so many multi-person matches. Is it just about getting that? Well, not Mania payday, but I guess Mania weekend payday.
Yeah, it's a strange one because this is the first time I think NXT. I know it's not a takeover, but it is the kind of event. You might be able to see some funny lights going on because there's massive screens opposite me on my face. But yeah, the generally think when it was NXT takeover, they'd have about 5 matches. It was a very tight card. It's interesting they've gone with 8 matches for this one. I think they could have done without the likes of the 8-man tag, 8-person tag, sorry, for control of Chase U. I'm just referring to my match card. So that you've got Chase U. It is a long-running storyline, but it's not one that I think needed this kind of blow off at Stand and Deliver. What I would say is it's good to have Tyler Bate on the card because he's not really found his footing in NXT properly yet. So it's a weird one for him to be thrown in, but also the other big talking point of this one is you are going to have Ava, who is the Rock's daughter. So this is the biggest audience she'll have wrestled in front of. So definitely look forward to seeing how she gets on here because I guess by the rules of it, she's going to be going against Thea Hale anytime she's in the ring. So those two probably don't have too much experience in the ring, but there'll be a big talking point coming out is how did the Rock's daughter get on? She's going to have to carry that throughout her career, I guess. But this is their first big, I would say night, but it's very much morning here.
I get you. It must feel weird getting ready and going to a wrestling show this early in the day.
Mate, my alarm went off at 7:30, and I was like, I better actually shake a leg because I've not got too long to get across, LA with the traffic as it is, get into the stadium, the arena, and then so it is a weird experience, but it's a welcome one because I'm not going to complain for having NXT and then WrestleMania in one day.
Yeah. So what are you going to do after the show? Do you head straight towards where Mania is? Is it far from where you are?
Yeah. So Crypto or Staples is in downtown LA. You got to get across to Inglewood. So I've been staying nearer to Inglewood, so it's a journey I'm used to taking. But that freeway does get jammed up. So the idea is we go from here. A couple of us are going to jump in a taxi or an Uber and get across as soon as possible. I think it's one of those things just for peace of mind. If you get to SoFi as early as possible, you're in the right area, and then you can soak in the atmosphere and find something to eat or drink around there.
That's it, brilliant. All right, speaking of soaking in the atmosphere, mate, I'm going to let you get off because I don't want to take up all your time. But thanks so much for joining, buddy. Give yourself a little shout out. Where can people find you?
You can find my work on RushOnRock.com. There's plenty of features there. There's been one every day this week for WrestleMania, include WrestleMania preview. There's an NXT preview if you want to have a quick peruse through that. There's other ones on there about whether the WWE should be splitting the titles moving forward. There's a Cody Rhodes feature going live today. So go check out all that good stuff. If you want to follow me, there is some stuff going up over this weekend on Twitter, which is at Sporzy19. You can find me on there. I like to tweet about wrestling or sometimes football as well. So if you fancy that, give me a follow. Not as successful as Arsenal are at the moment, but if you fancy an ever hopeful Newcastle fan, go for it.
Hey, it's a good year to be a Newcastle fan, don't get me wrong. Anyway, mate, thanks so much for joining us. If you are around later today, of course, you want to give us your opinions on the show or build up towards WrestleMania, of course, you're welcome to jump on as well. So keep in touch.
Yes, mate, of course. Yeah, if the connection's all right so far, I'll try and stick my head in, be your roving reporter on the ground in LA.
Beautiful. Love it, mate. Have a good time, man. Take care.
See you, buddy. Bye.
Cheers, buddy. All right, there we go. Andy Spores there from Russian Rock and Wrestling Royal. Much love to him for coming on. How about that, guys? You know, not only are we previewing the card here, we've got someone live at the arena, kind of giving us the lowdown on kind of what people are thinking about the event as well. So really nice of Andy to join us. But what you are watching right now, of course, is the build-up show. We act as a bit of a companion, really, for the pre-show. Not much goes on pre-shows these days, guys, so we just keep an eye out for you. So because it's not the most entertaining watch. Hopefully you're enjoying what we're doing, though. And the idea is to get yourself and ourselves hyped up for the event that we're about to watch as well. Later on, of course, we can't not do it for WrestleMania, guys. We'll be back later on doing it for that show as well. But again, guys, what are you looking forward to tonight? We've had a few great comments so far talking about Johnny Gargano, talking about kind of some of the big matches on the card. Interested in there hearing from Andy. I really wanted to know about this kind of multi-person thing they seem to be going with here on this NXT show. Is it about just cramming everyone on, or do the storylines actually made sense? And from the sounds of it, it's a little bit of both, but you can kind of justify it, especially here with the 8-person tag team match and just giving Tyler Bate a chance to be on the big stage in NXT terms at the moment, at least. Of course, another match to look forward to would be this match with the women on the roster. Of course, we did have a surprise entrant, which has now been filled, of course. And we finally know what's going on with this match. Roxanne Perez, champion, of course, defended against Zoey Stark, Gigi Dolin, Tiffany Stratton, Lyra, Valkyria, Indi Hartwell for the NXT Women's Championship match. And it's a ladder match, guys. A big match to throw someone in that the storyline is that she's injured and all this kind of stuff. And now it seems anxiety has become part of the storyline. Is that what's going on? I saw this strange video with Shawn Michaels. And just the way it was shot, it reminded me of, like, I don't know what it reminded me of. It just so weird. Like, they had this angle behind Shawn's head as if we were watching, like, Breaking Bad. Like, it was very strange. Where were they? Was it Shawn's home? I didn't understand what was going on there. But the idea was that Perez was going to come back and Shawn was really hesitant. And I wonder if that's going to play in here. If it was just about selling Perez coming back, or if it's going to turn into Shawn having some sort of regret at saying yes. Because he had to kind of get her to agree that, I guess it was on her. I think it was something like that if things went wrong, which is kind of a similar thing with the unsanctioned matches we mentioned earlier on. So we've got two kind of themes there of the kind of, hey, NXT have nothing to do with this if this goes wrong. But yeah, I'm hearing a lot of good things about Roxanne Perez as well. So I'm glad we are actually getting to see her perform tonight as well. And the ladder match, looking forward to that, because we've been talking about when we talk about main roster shows, and I know we saw a lot of these girls show up on the main roster when it comes to the Royal Rumble, and I like what I saw for the most part. So looking forward to seeing the women go on this roster and proving that they are ready, I guess, to fill those shoes on the main roster. It's not just the men potentially getting called up, as we mentioned earlier on. Potential for Bron Breakker, potential for Carmelo Hayes as well. But what is the potential for the women getting called up? You know, you'd think champion, usually top of the card, but storyline going on there at the moment, so maybe not the time. Is it time for any of these other women to come up as well? Of course, NXT, this modern era, you can't look past who actually had it on their back, of course, with Mandy Rose. And Mandy's not around anymore, but I wouldn't be surprised if we did see her back. I mean, imagine if it was tonight, guys. It would be pretty cool if we saw Mandy Rose return tonight. I do think it is kind of likely at some point. Not necessarily tonight, but I do think it's likely that she'll make her way back to the WWE at some point. What's very likely, though, guys, for today is that we'll be back in a little bit doing a watch-along as well. So if you are wanting a companion for the show, not just a build up here, then we're your guys right here on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. We don't always do watch-alongs, so it's going to be exciting to do one because, again, it's at a reasonable time for us. So we're going to be doing a watch-along for Stand and Deliver straight after this build-up show as well. But right now, it's about getting hyped for the event. So, again, what are we looking forward to, guys? If you're in the comments, let us know. Now, on the screen at the moment, they are talking about Bron Breakker versus Carmelo Hayes being previewed. And there seems to be a lot of eyes on Carmelo at the moment. I mentioned earlier on with Andy, just a lot of hype around them. And rightly so, it would seem. Kind of built his way up in NXT. Been there for a while now, as Andy said, become North American champion, held that. Obviously now going for the big prize as well. I think surely before being called up, I think it wouldn't make any sense to bring him in just yet for NXT's sake. As I mentioned again on our Raw After Mania predictions as well. Now, got a bit of action here on the pre-show though. Can you dig it? Yes, I think we can, Booker. Booker T making his way to the ring. Now, be interested to see when they pan out here how busy the stadium is, the arena is, I should say. It didn't look super busy behind Andy, but then that's probably because they're all in their seats and we were holding Andy up, to be fair. Look at that. It doesn't look too bad. Okay, at the back, it ain't looking great up there, but it ain't bad. It ain't bad for a daytime show, I've got to say. And for a daytime show of an NXT that isn't the old NXT, I'm actually quite impressed. But then again, if tickets were going for a $5, like Andy said, then you might be walking past and thought, screw it, I'll give it a go. Could it be interesting, as I said earlier on, to see Pretty Deadly as well? Obviously, fellow Brits being very impressive with their work on the NXT UK roster, but now on the main NXT roster as well. So what's kicking off? 8-person tag team kicking off, sounds like. Okay, yeah. So we are kicking off, guys, with the 8-person tag match. As we were just talking about with Andy there, that this is going to be a big, big moment, of course, for The Rock's daughter. I wonder if he's there. You never know. Not saying he's going to show up at NXT, but he might be backstage. Who knows? All right, guys. So while we're on a little ad there, I think it's a good time for me to make some plugs as well. If you haven't already, you've got a bit of time before tonight. Join us by watching our red carpet preview that we did the other day, and our predictions and preview episode as well. Hold on a minute. It's a match on the kickoff show. I didn't quite get what was going on there. Chase University. I love this entrance, by the way. Again, I'm not that familiar with a lot of what we're seeing here in NXT at the moment. I'll be honest, guys. I like this, though. Tyler, obviously not part of the group, it seems, but fully committed in his role today. Great worker, Tyler. Not just like in-ring, but character work as well. All right, so we're going to have a little bit of a watch-along for a match here, at least, as well. I was in a bit of a plug-in mode there, guys. We also did a little stream talking about the lineups for WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday. We did a set reveal reaction. And later tonight, guys, we will be back, of course, for the build-up show for night one of WrestleMania. That is going to be a big one here. This is a kind of a mini build-up show, just myself at the moment. We did have Andy on, thankfully. Great of the guy to join us there, live from Los Angeles. How cool was that, guys? Whoa, talking about cool. What's this entrance? Guys, I'm just so unaware of so much in NXT. Schism, cool. This looks cool. Oh, yeah, okay, Joe Gacy's gang. I like this. Two very different feeling factions, and I like that, Guys, what do you think? Schism, yay or nay? What's been going on with them? You like them? And Chase University, I like the look of both of them. I love this entrance. Man, I feel like I'm not a wrestling noob, guys. I don't watch NXT. Okay. If you want to get more reactions like this from a guy who doesn't understand what's going on, and goes, I remember that guy quite a bit. And join us for the watch along for the main show as well, guys. As I said, the next stream on this channel coming your way in about 5 or so minutes. Actually, we're gonna clock off of this one and get ready, set up for the main watch along as well. But here we go. We're underway on the kickoff show. All right, bit of a NXT chant there. They say feel the vibe, and it looks kind of busy, like a few empty seats. Again, to be fair play, it hasn't fully started yet, but it doesn't feel like these shows used to, but it looks somewhat like it because it's in an arena. I actually thought this was going to be a much smaller venue. I didn't realize it was actually at the former Staples Center, which is what I'd know it as now. Well, back in the day at least. So thanks for clearing that up, Andy. Again, live from the arena earlier on. Great to get Andy on. If you haven't already, check him out at his website, Russian Rock, where we covers music and pro wrestling, and also wrestling royalty here on YouTube as well. But of course, you're watching right now the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. We appreciate everyone that's joined us live for this stream, and those that join us on demand, because I know sometimes people like to do that as well, just to kind of recap and go over some of the talking points. Of course, it's not been many other people on this show, just me and Andy today, but usually, especially for main PLEs, we do have quite a few guests where we have a lot of kind of in-depth discussion that go beyond the show that we're previewing as well. So definitely join us later on for an example of that with WrestleMania. All right, so what we're going to do, guys, this match is well underway, but I don't think it's going to be ending anytime soon. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to skip out of here for now, and we'll be back in a very, very short moment for the watch along. So if you want to carry on watching the stream, guys, go to our channel at RN Pro Wrestling on Twitter, at RN Pro Wrestling here on YouTube as well, and you'll find the information for the next stream, because we are going to do a live watch along for the main show here as well. This has just been a pre-show kickoff companion here at the build-up show. But guys, we'll be back in a little bit of time here for the NXT Stand and Deliver watch along. See you in a bit.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.